don't expect the president to run a party or to try to fix a problem of an opposition party simply because he wants to prove to Nigerians that he believes in opposition democracy. They have to do, but I'm sure that the Nigerian people are very clear. Tinubu is the saddle, and all of them, in my view, are patiently following the president as he guides us through this reform process so we can go to a point where Nigeria will work for everybody, not Nigerian working for some people. And over the last 18 months, the Nigerian people can see the visible, touchable, feelable effect of this policy. One is that before President Bwala Tinubu took the office, know that it was reported that over 19 or 20-something states of the Federation were bankrupt and insolvent, could not pay salary. By the president's policy of removal of subsidy, it has generated increased revenue. Now states are not talking about insolvency or bankruptcy. Now we are asking the states to do us a favor and deliver on the promise they made to the state by ensuring that there is economic equality, by ensuring that we deal with poverty, by ensuring that we ramp up agriculture. Of course, you must know also that before President Bola Tinubu took the oath of office, in other aspects of the economy, Nigeria was practically doing nothing. The foreign reserve was depleted with speed, like the speed of light. Right now, we have in the foreign reserve on the excess of $40 billion. And this is a savings even while we are paying the debt and clearing the forest backlog. At the same time, even seeking to invest on critical aspect of the economy, which is infrastructure. You look at healthcare, human capital development, agriculture, and everybody will see it. On recent time, I've been asked by various television stations as to the fact that they agree there is the progress in the administration, but that the progress is not moving the needle. And I told them, the whole essence of economy is limited resources, unlimited ones, and prioritization of your goal so you can achieve. Only in infrastructure, it was reported by economic experts that if Nigeria must match the level that it is expected as a third world country, we must invest $10 billion annually only in infrastructure. President Bola Tinubu is dealing with a budget that is only a little above 10, if I'm not mistaken, on all areas. So everybody is seeing what he's doing, and he refused to be distracted into mundane things of political party that are not existent at the moment.
But that's also the issue, because when it comes to, I quoted Atiku Abubakar talking about the need for a healthy exchange of ideas and the need to hold this government accountable. Don't you consider it dismissive or dismissive if you say, don't listen to them, what they're saying doesn't matter? Isn't that the whole essence of democracy, to get the full side of the story? I mean, the different sides to it.
No, we are actually waiting. We are already on our ideas. What is the idea of the All Progressive Congress, and what is the idea of the president? The idea of the president is reflected in his policies. Anytime we'll intervene in the media on all areas that we find the opportunity, we talk about ideas, issues of the economy. So if you want to come and meet us, talk about economy. Don't be talking about personality and insult. We talk about growth process, and we talk about indices of growth. We talk about dealing with insecurity, because we believe if you deal with that, you'll be able to have our people to go to farms, our people will go to farms, and we will have increased production of agricultural produce. We even went as far as communicating to Nigerians that President Bola Tinubu knew before people started talking about agriculture in the climate change and in the G20. He started focusing on agriculture way before that. And this recent visit he made to the G20, they built on what was agreed at the climate change. And what was the focus? Dealing with hunger, poverty, and climate change. And these are areas that the President Bola Tinubu has foreseen and has begun working in that. Look at the effort we are putting in agriculture. These are issues. These are ideas. So if you have a contrary view and you believe that what we are doing is not effective or is not producing the desired result, come and talk to us on those ideas and provide alternatives to say that if we were in government, this is how we would have done that. So when we say we remove subsidy, tell us what you would have done differently. I don't want to be calling conjecture. And very funnily, the media too in Nigeria, very sadly, also don't promote the discussion of ideas. whatever comes out of Facebook or Twitter on social media, which most often than not is fake news and disinformation, the mainstream media or legacy media run with it. So if you want to promote ideas, whenever people come with mundane and irrelevant conversation, ask them to talk to us on those policies that we are running on and tell us what they would have done differently. And then we will bring up political theory and economic theory to tell them why we're doing what we're doing.
It isn't fair to, put all of the mainstream media together and say the entirety of what we do is go to air with what we see online. That is absolutely not true. My channel, for instance, has... just a minute. My channel, for instance, has reporter in all of the 36 states of the country. We don't rely on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram to get the news. But I want us to speak to the issues because that's most important. And that's why we're having this conversation.
No, but permit me, you have raised the point. Permit me to react. That's the most decent way to deal with issues. I have never used and I've never mentioned a media platform. Why is the media very sensitive? Anytime you use a general term, so if you say Nigerians are hungry, are all Nigerians hungry?
You said mainstream and traditional media gets their information online. You just mentioned that now, and that's what I was reacting to.
That's a generic term.
That's what I'm saying, that it's not fair to put the entire media under the same umbrella. But I'd like us to move ahead, Dr. Bwala, so that we don't waste time on this. This is not why we're here in the real sense of it. I want us to speak to the issues. The reality right now is that how this administration is faring, or how it thinks it's faring, is sharply different from opinion from other stakeholders, especially in the opposition party. And they are concerned about certain issues upon which they have premised their position. One of which is that Nigeria has fallen from having the highest GDP in Africa in 2014 to ranking fourth with a GDP less than 50% of what we had 10 years ago. They're also looking at the issue of per capita income that has significantly dropped from about $3,500 to barely $1,000. And they are saying that the economic experience of the average Nigerian has significantly deteriorated in the past 18 months. How relevant are these figures, Dr. Bwala, to the review of this administration's economic policies?
The answer is very simple. If you are in a building project where you have a building that is at a lintel level, another building is at a lintel level, but the second building that is at a lintel level has a faulty foundation, and in fact, is even about to crack and collapse. And then you assess and say, if we keep arguing at this level with false hope and false GDP because it's not founded on the fundamentals of the economy, we are certainly going to crash as a nation. And then somebody comes, a builder or an engineer comes and says, look, we are very concerned about building a building that will last, not a competition of which building is taller than the other, and decide to crash it and start the foundation in order to put structures that will make the building last not only for this time, but time after us. When you commence this restructuring of the building at the foundational level, if you are taking data or you're making analysis at the moment, it will seem that this building you're starting all over is backwards, which is a reflection of what you see in the economic life of the Nigerian people, what you see in the reflection of the indices in GDP and the rest. So there is nowhere in the world where you're carrying out a reform that you will say, whilst you're carrying out this reform, everything will remain as it is. Definitely you're starting all over again. The good news I have to tell Nigerians is that if you look at the last 18 months, beginning with when the president started this reform process, we have now seen results coming from Data Bank House. If you look at the last Bureau's report, you have seen the growth of the GDP, you have seen unemployment declining, you have seen employment going up, you have seen importation going down, you have seen the export going beyond Africa to Europe, you are seeing the increased revenue to states, you have seen infrastructure in key areas of the economy, you have seen education, people who could not afford education are having access to education. These are what they call fundamentals of the economy. They keep and make economy grow. You have seen that the banks and private sector are recapitalizing to become very strong and virile. You are seeing even in the media where your community lies, media is restructuring to build on media job that lasts not just for now but time after us. So we are under construction. So anytime they raise that concern, you have to put it into perspective, because if you don't put it into perspective, you will be carried away in the delusion that Nigeria ought to be the way it was when the report of where it was founded on borrowing and feeding and not putting on infrastructure, when it is founded on falsehood and false reportage, and when it is founded on critical area of the economy declining. This is the explanation we give to the Nigerian people anytime such a conversation comes. And our answer to them is that we were not the same way we were last year, this year. There is an improvement. And that is how in 2025, you're going to see improvement in these fields. Why do we check our budget and look at our investment in security? Because we discovered that if we deal with insecurity that is largely seen in states in Nigeria where we have farmers, our farmers will go back to work. And when they go back to work, we will have production in agriculture. When we have production in agriculture, it will crash the prices of items in the market. Because a greater part of this inflation people are talking about is founded on food inflation. So when we deal with agriculture, we deal with insecurity, we'll have increased production in agriculture, and we will see growth. The president has put his own foot on the ground to focus on the non-oil aspect of the economy so we can have diversification of the economy. This is our answer to those who care to listen.
Increased allocation to state governments. Earlier this year, Mr. President emphasized the critical role of state governors in driving Nigeria's prosperity and economic growth. He also mentioned, of course, that they get 65% of the federal allocation, which has significantly increased as a result of the removal of fuel subsidy. How do you think the subnationals have been able to, do you think they've been able to adequately complement efforts of federal government in this regard?
So this is the point, and the president is always careful about not throwing the governors under the bus. That's why when they visited him in Lagos, he made it clear to them, even to allay their fears, that we are not after your local government because of the introduction of the local government autonomy. We want a Nigeria that will work. We want to take government to the local, to the base, to the grassroots, because all politics is local and all government is at the grassroots. We are concerned about the growth of Nigeria. We are concerned about the future of our people. Well, we are concerned about healthcare in Nigeria. So he made that clear to them. Now, if you bring every independent person to give his opinion as to the much that the federal government is doing and whether that is also reflected in the state, I have assessed and I've listened to a greater number of analysts, and they came to the conclusion that most states in Nigeria are not meeting up to expectation. Because if you go to some of the states in Nigeria, you will see that even though revenue has increased, but the situation in those states is the same as it was before the increase of revenue, in terms of salary of workers, in terms of local agriculture, in terms of chieftaincy matters, in terms of healthcare at the grassroots, basic primary healthcare, in terms of infrastructure as well. And then you come to human capital development by provision of, renovation of schools. So there are quite a number of states that are not meeting up to expectation based on analytical views of various people. And that's why every time the president gives them the money, when they come and they say they needed money for that, he's always open to giving them. He enjoins them to please take this governance to the people. The reason we are taking this direction is so that every Nigerian, he has always been emphasizing that he wants a government that works for all, not a government that works only for private sector or a government that works for the elite, because the nation consists of the undertrodden, the people who are below poverty line, those people who are struggling to survive, the working class, the elite, the business entrepreneurs, and he's looking at an economy that will touch all the fabrics of this society. And then we can say we have a country everybody can believe in. And the 70%, if not more, of the constitution of the Nigerian people are at the state level. That's why I often say people should not look at politics from the prism of the opposition, because they don't want to be real with this fact that government is at the local. And until we begin to also call our governors to account on the critical areas that we feel the money should be put into, we may not be able to see the desired result, while the federal government is doing more than it can and even going to the extent of borrowing, so we can invest more in these areas.
It matters, therefore, based on your submission, that both the central and subnational governments are on the same page as regards the definition of development. I have heard people say perhaps Nigerians should also hold governors accountable the same way they scrutinize government at the center. But I have spoken with some commissioners, across the states, who have also made a submission that more allocation necessarily doesn't mean more value for the states when you consider inflationary pressure, which has significantly increased in recent time. How do you react to that?
And I have done that, I think, in 2-3 different TV stations, when that argument is made, that even though there is increased allocation, when you put into, when you factor inflation and you also factor the dollar to naira, you will see that even though there is increase and there is no impact. I said, let us look at it contextually. When workers are paid, they are paid in naira, not in dollar. When they go to the market to buy food, most of the food crops, food produce and items that they buy in the market are locally produced. So where is the effect of the dollar? If you go to buy tomato, you go to buy rice, you go to buy onions, you go to buy some of these critical things that we take care of hunger and feeding, these ones are locally produced. So where is the effect of dollar to say that the naira has become so low it cannot be impacted? I think that we need to also have, although we believe in free market economy, but there should be some sense of focus on these people who are doing economic sabotage. You remember when the president released rice, we found rice hoarded in places. There are people who, in a bid to hurt the president, they are businessmen, they will buy this food produce in large volume and hide it somewhere, will not want to make it available to the market, so they can create scarcity and get the people to be angry with the president. I mean, there are a lot of undemocratic elements that are trying to make the government ungovernable. But in the real sense of the word, with the numbers, we look at the data and the numbers, and we saw that food inflation constituted the highest in the inflation generally. And so the president decided to invest in agriculture, and that's what we are doing. The prices of items about 6 months ago are not the same with now. In last November, December, because of festive season, people were hoarding product in order to bring it out during the festive season and sell it and hike it. So there are certain elements that have nothing to do with the indices that are trying to undermine production in this area. But the government effort in this regard, I think, is quite obvious to everyone in terms of provision of seedlings, incentivizing agriculture in Nigeria. Many people are going into agriculture at the moment. So, and this is the key. If we hit it, and we are able to bring down food inflation, you discover that the monster of the inflation is going to go down.
Mr. President continues to reiterate his ambition to reduce inflation rate from 34 to 15% this new year. We've spoken with quite a number of economists who consider that non-realistic. As a matter of fact, the IMF is projecting that inflation will drop to 25% and wouldn't reach 14% until 2029. That's 4 years from now.
Yes. So let me tell you, there is this saying that says, any man who sets up a goal only because it can be achieved has defined his own limitation. If you want us to set our target of reducing the inflation to probably 25, because it is doable, it is achievable by natural and ordinary interpretation of economic indices, then we have defined our limitation. The president believed in work, he believed in effort, he believed in stretching to the impossible and make it possible. So when we say we are hoping in this year to reduce the inflation to 15-point-something%, somebody may look at it and say it is ambitious. Fine, it may be. But our effort is that we look at the indices. For example, like I told you earlier, when I said food inflation constitutes the highest in the general inflation, right? If we are able, as we are already investing in agriculture to crash it to a level where it will be obvious. We get private sector to also invest in agriculture. We're able to motivate the Nigerian people to go into agriculture because of the incentives we are providing. Even many years ago, we used to have a policy, they say, whatever your profession, farm. If we do that, and we crash this food inflation, we believe that it is doable to achieve this goal. But let me tell you something about goal setting and achieving. If you set a goal to the moon, and you go to 37,000 feet above sea level, even if you don't meet the moon, it is still a success because you have stretched yourself to go beyond the ordinary. All these IMF prediction and economy experts prediction that inflation will be 25, 27 might just be based on ordinary happenstance or ordinary things on the table. The president believes in stretching yourself, work hard and beat the target. And hopefully we'll be able to beat with that.
We'll talk more about some other projections shortly. We'll also open the phone line so we can hear from our viewers. But that'll be right after this break. Stay with us, everyone.
What is better than your view on weekdays? Your view on the weekend. Something special, something more. We have an extra dose of premium television experience. Your Saturday is about to get upgraded with more engagement, information, and special moments.
Let this be PG. English is a problem. Don't see your parents finish. Yes. I don't know another English. And it's not by BT.
Join us from Saturday, the 15th of April, 2023 at 9 a.m. for the weekend edition of Your View. Join the intelligent, dynamic, inspiring, and fearless ladies of Your View as they have the difficult conversation,
the thuggery and intimidation,
breaking down barriers and defining the narrative. Save the date as we count down to the weekend edition of the most exciting talk show on Nigerian television.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move weigh in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
Thanks for staying with us, everyone. We're looking at President Tinubu's economic policies. Hopefully, we're going to touch on diplomacy shortly. Dr. Daniel Bwala, presidential spokesperson, joins me live from Abuja. Mr. Bakari is on the line. Good morning, and thank you for joining us. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Hello?
I can hear you. Please go ahead with the contribution, Mr. Bakari.
Yes, my name is Bakari from Ayobo. Yeah, I just want to support what Mr. Dr. Bwala said about most of this big, So I want to discuss about about what Dr. Bwala said about the big media houses getting most of their information from media, from the social media. TVC, one of the outfits we usually watch, of recent started even some trending, getting information on trending media disease, which is, the mother situation has started it. So when you get information from social media, at least like the anchor said, you can, when you have your reporters all over the state. The reporter should be able to get you the facts, not on social media. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bakari, for your contribution. Let's get back to our conversation, Dr. Bwala. The outlook of the exchange rate in 2025 has been premised on factors like the foreign reserve in excess of about $40 billion. There's the Eurobond proceeds on reserves, the import substitution effect of Dangote and Port Harcourt refineries. We are also hearing that the Warri is working at about 60% capacity. But there are some who still insist that the NNPCL lacks the effectiveness to make these refineries function competitively in such a way that it can bring the kind of gains that can get to Nigerians at the grassroots. What is government counting on in this regard?
Well, I hope you know that NNPC is a company. It's a limited liability company, although the federal government has a stake in it. But under corporate governance, at every given time when an organization is not functioning optimally or is not productive in the sense of operating with profit, then definitely it will call for reform and restructuring. And President Tinubu, as someone who came from the private sector, is well aware of what it takes to make a business profitable and business successful. And if at any given time he comes to the realization that NNPC is not living to expectation, I'm sure that President Tinubu will do what needs to be done in order to make NNPC a fully functional, profit-making company. But you need to know that the last time these refineries worked, I believe that millennia, there are some people, if you ask them now, they will say in their lifetime, they have never seen it. This is one of the biggest breakthroughs we've had in recent memory in Nigeria, that you can have the Port Harcourt refinery functioning, you can have the Warri, and we're even targeting Kaduna and others. This is one of the most marked progress that you can see in the administration of President Tinubu. And if NNPC is not working, how come we now have refinery working? How come we have Warri working? It is the same NNPC who couldn't do that in the past. So that shows that there is a marked departure from ineffectiveness to effectiveness. And if this is not enough, that's why even from the governmental point of view, the president introduced performance assessment as a means of assessing the performance of his ministers. That same thing is reflective of his own pattern of operation. At every given time, whatever you are asked to do, you will be assessed. If the expectation is far above the performance, then definitely the president will do what he needs to do in the circumstance.
I want us to quickly touch on the issue of tax reform bills. I think I heard Governor Sule yesterday in a sister organization talking about his satisfaction with the commitment of stakeholders to consider the issues raised about these bills. Mr. President also, I think it was during his media chat, signaled a willingness to make concessions to address stakeholders' concerns. What are the real expectations in this regard? Because we've heard governors, for instance, the Borno State governor, make reference to the PIA and how long it took to come to what he considers a conclusion in that regard. To what extent is the federal government willing to concede? Are there untouchables, especially in very controversial areas that has to do with VAT and the new model this bill is recommending?
Under a normal democratic and governance procedure, the president sponsored a bill, an executive bill, and that bill is in the National Assembly. Ordinarily, there shouldn't be any conversation outside of that prison, but to have the deliberation in the National Assembly. Every governor has at least 3 senators and not less than 9 House of Rep members. Some have 18 and more. But what that means is that whatever your concern is, you will speak to the National Assembly representatives of your state to take it to the National Assembly in the deliberation. But the president, being a negotiation and collaborative president, decided to stretch it further by ensuring that the tax team engage with all the critical stakeholders in Nigeria. This is what ordinarily the National Assembly will do, because when you sponsor a bill and they read the bill in the first reading, They will later commit it to public hearing, and they will do all those things that are necessary. But the president went beyond that and ensured that there is a robust stakeholder engagement, where governors, private sector, students, everybody was involved. And in fact, this tax reform bill is one of those initiatives in this government that has had the widest coverage in terms of consultation. And all the governors have agreed that this bill is very, very good. They are only, some of the governors are only quarreling on a section in one of the bills. And I said that I know what politics is. Sometimes, like I gave example in one of the TV station, even if you look at it in America, the Republicans and the Democrats, if you bring bipartisan bill, it passes without problem. If you bring a bill that they feel that Democrats will benefit more than Republicans, then you will see real politics in it, because everybody wants concession. Since you need this very urgently, we need this. And if you want us to support this, you also have to concede here. That is what is happening. It's not out of the ordinary. The politics side of it is the sad part. Because if you look at those who are criticizing this bill are second-term governors. The first-time governors are not talking. In the same area where you think that people will cry against the bill. That is how you will know that there is a politics to this whole thing. But the disposition of the president, let me land. Let me land,
hold
sir.
that thought for a
there
minute.
Is a disposition.
Hold that thought for a minute.
The disposition of the president is that of collaboration.
Okay.
He wants to relate with the governors in a collaborative way. He's not combative. He's not trying to say, I will move with or without you. He has even said that there is no bending over back that we cannot do in order to get this bill to pass.
All right.
So far, the good relationship between the president and the governors is encouraging.
Let's take Reverend Dominic's call from Alimosho here in Lagos. Good morning, Reverend.
Hello, can you hear me? Femi, good morning.
Good morning. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Please, can you hear me, Femi?
I can hear you clearly, Reverend. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I wish Dr. Bwala can hear me. Dr. Bwala, I know him very well. Maybe you may not know me very well because I meet one place or the other. But I want to disagree with Bwala. If you can hear me, I want him to answer me direct. How could Bwala say that a media like TVC are receiving information from social media? TV is one of the best, if not in Africa. How could we have correspondents all over the world, if not all over the Africa? That did not sit down with me as a presidential spokesperson. Now, that, by the way, I'm not an economist. I want to ask Dr. Bwala, how on earth do you say that the economy is getting better? We are the minimum wage is 70,000, and a bag of rice is 100,000. That's by the side. Number two, the last year budget was predicated on $850, if I'm right. This year's budget is predicated on $1,500 US. So if a bag of rice last year on $850 US is 100,000 naira, how will it look in the year 2025, where the economy and the budget is predicated on $1,500? Let Bwala could answer us. And I want Bwala to become more civil in talking to Nigerians. We're not.
All right. I think your contribution is clear, Reverend. I doubt if Dr. Bwala could hear you, but I'd like you to, he's asking the question of how these economic policies trickle down to the average Nigerian. For instance, he's saying if you're benchmarking dollar at 1,500 naira for this year, how do you expect the price of rice, for instance, a bag of rice that was 100,000 last year, to reduce given what dollar was in the previous year? He's talking about the real cost of living and how much people exchange for food and services.
Yeah, I think that in the first 20 minutes of our conversation, we really touched on that. But however, in response to how a price of an item rose from a certain price, let's say 17 or 20,000 to 100, I mean, the facts are there, right? When we remove subsidy and we float the naira, it means everything is going to be rejigged to start all over again. But what we are doing in order to deal with this, like I told you, is investment in agriculture. if you have more people investing in rice and you have more rice in the market, it's the simple logic of economics. If there is surplus in the market, it crashes the price. If there is limited number in the market, it will now create the inflation because the prices of those items will go up. I gave you a perspective of how some businessmen in this country will buy this item in large volume. They will hide it somewhere simply because they want the scarcity to create the inflation in the market. And I said this is undemocratic. I also told you about the investment that the president is making in the area of agriculture through the provision of seedlings. There are quite a number of incentives in that field. And this is in a bid to deal with the problem of food inflation. We discussed that for like 20 minutes.
Yes, I hear you, and I understand you, but you know, this conversation is for the people, and it's important that we also explore the issues they are raising. Because the way I understand it,
it's okay.
Even at best, if we get the inflation at 15%, which experts say is practically impossible, what it means for the average Nigerian is that what they buy for 100,000 naira last year, they will now exchange for 115,000 naira, not necessarily 85,000 naira. The question on their lips is, we couldn't afford it then. What's the assurance we are going to be able to afford it now? How does that message represent economic and financial liberty for them?
Yes, which is what we have taken our time continuously in engaging with Nigerians to say that Mr. President is carrying out a reform that will put the economy in better footing. And although it has created discomfort and inconveniences for Nigerians, but the president has been saying, hang on with me, have faith in the government, because we are putting in place structures that will make this better, and that we are not going to stay here for a long time. We are going to come out. What are those structures? We've explained the issue of dealing with agriculture. We talk about local production. We talk about the area of human capital development. We talk about the healthcare. You have a very limited resources, and you have so many things you need to put in order to raise the living standard of the people. So you're prioritizing the investment, and you're providing intervention in every area. Take, for example, because of the policy, there are people who have difficulty paying their school fees. The president introduced NEL Fund. They can access it, and a lot of people have accessed it, and they have a better life in that. There are many other areas in which the last December festive season, so many people wanted to travel, but there are problem of transportation. The president ordered that transportation be crashed to half the price in order to make it easy for the Nigerian people. So day and night, Mr. President is working on the fundamentals to ensure that the Nigerian people get to a point where life will be better for them. A little more patience from Nigerians, and we'll be out of this predicament.
All right, let's take this call. Good morning. Please go ahead with your contribution in a minute if you can.
Yeah, good morning, sir, and good morning, Mr. Bwala. I just want to say it's unfortunate. It's very, 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 very unfortunate that Barrister Bwala come on TV and said the economy is getting better. I am really disappointed. Though I know that what political appointees are doing, sometimes they will just wear good shirts, that's because they started making money, then come on TV just to pay so that the president will, sweet talk so that the president can ensure we are working. But the only person that I can listen to on TV now that I will take home is Babajide, who always speak. He doesn't care whether you kill him, But a tin of Cerelac I used to buy last year for 6,000. A Cerelac now is not 15,000. Go and find out if I'm lying. Pampers of the Jumbo Park I used to buy 9,000. Is not 12,500, going to 15,000. Live chicken, old layers I used to buy 3,500. Is now 8,000. Go and find out. These little basic things that we eat that are supposed to make the poor people at least to put food on their table is going up every day by day. In fact, I don't even know how this government is going to come out of this. One thing I just discovered is what our people, leaders are doing is just to grab power, come and answer a powerful person, then put their name in record and go. Then Buhari came in, we thought there would be hope. That hope was dashed. Then this one has come. Then before you know it, this time will fizzle out. People, all his boys will make money. Just look at the people around them.
I think we lost that call. Dr. Bwala, did you hear the caller?
Yeah, I heard a bit, but I can understand his frustration. Actually, he's not the only one. A lot of Nigerians are frustrated because of the discomfort You know, it's just like you're administering medicine to somebody who has a medical condition. It is not sweet. When you ask him to take pills, it's bitter. When you administer the injection, it's painful. All of this process that will lead up to his recovery will not be comfortable for him. But one fact that is clear for anybody who is taking medical treatment is that this treatment is going to take him to full recovery, where he will have his life back to do more than he was doing before he took ill. It is just a natural explanation. And we made that clear over and over. There is no economic model or theory that will make, when you embark on a reform, that the reform will yield the result immediately. Even when you go to farm and you put the seed on the ground and you plant, it has a process where it germinates and it grows and it gets to the harvest season. I know that because of the discomfort, a lot of Nigerians don't have time to be rational in their thinking to say, okay, since we don't believe the government in what they are saying, so what are the economics saying about what the government is saying? Because that's one way by which you can gauge the policy of the government, whether the government is not being truthful to Nigerians or not. In the last, I think 2-3 months, all the economic experts I've listened to, they agreed that the indices of the economy is leading us out. And the numbers, that is how you know. You look at the numbers. But the common man who wants food on his table does not care about the numbers. He wants the food on the table. But for those who care, look at the numbers. Inflation going down, GDP going up, export increasing, import reducing. All of these things, import of oil, reducing. All of these things are those indices, those factors that you use in determining growth or the lack thereof in any society. And so what we do, while we go through this process, because Nigeria consists of people in different levels of understanding, so we take our time to convince them, to beg them, that they should be patient and let us have faith in government. Government is taking us out and will be out. Talking about when political appointees are appointed, I have been supporting the president in the past 10 months before I was appointed. And I maintain the same position. I'm not here to do sugarcoat anything. I listen to economic experts. And all of them agree that the indices are going towards it. In fact, the only complaint I've had experts say about the economy is that they said that this our growth is not very fast. And the answer is simple. Limited resources. If there is an analysis that says only in infrastructure, you need $10 billion every year for Nigeria to rise to the level where it is expected. Do we have that $10 billion? Since we don't have, we have to prioritize. And because of prioritization, the areas that you are not prioritizing, people will look at it as if the government is not working in that regard. So we are making the progress. We continue to ask Nigerians to be a little bit more patient. We are going to come out of this predicament.
I hear you, Dr. Bwala. You have spent 19 months. I hope you know that time is ticking, and you are almost midterm into the four-year tenure. So when you say people should be patient, it's important that we also put it in context. We have to go now. We have just 2 more minutes. I was wondering if I can get your thoughts on the local government autonomy you mentioned earlier. The Supreme Court delivered a landmark judgment last year, July. Months after that judgment, the federal government, we understand, is yet to allocate funds directly to local government accounts. We are seeing some governors coming up with other laws now that require local government to do some remission to the state account. Quickly, in a minute if you can, what is government doing in this regard?
To the credit to the president, this is where the president has continued to demonstrate these leadership skills of negotiation and collaboration, to say he's not running a one-man government. Because after the Supreme Court decision, the president still subjected the conversation around the implementation between the federal government and the state, and they've been having robust understanding in that regard. Probably in the coming weeks, the monies will be sent directly to the local government, because we are making some agreement with the state government. That is what it takes to lead as a leader, that you are displaying this quality of negotiation, collaboration, and it is the same spirit the president has carried even to the tax reform bill. So to the local government chairman or local government administration in Nigeria, very shortly you are going to see the full implementation of the local government autonomy as enunciated by the Supreme Court. Lastly, before you go, with respect to, I have the 2 people that talked, I didn't hear them very well, but I had mention of TVC, and you mentioned TVC. It's part of those things that I'm telling you about agenda. We have discussed robustly wide range of issues. Somebody is making a call not to talk about issues that affect the Nigerian people. He's talking about TVC, when in fact, the statement I made has nothing to do with TVC. I have never mentioned TVC or indicted the TVC. I use a general term about the media. And I said that the mainstream media, I maintain the position, the mainstream media in Nigeria sometimes build their story around social media. And because largely the social media is influenced by fake news and falsehood, some of these things affect public perception against the government, which
Mr.
is
Bwala,
wrong.
we have
Because
completely
of
run out
AI,
of time.
my brother, as you are talking, because of, let me land, please. Permit me to land. Because of AI, your voice now can be used against you in the media. So if the media is fact-checking information that comes from the social media, we can have a robust conversation. I welcome
one way
conversation
the mainstream media differs from
falsehood.
social media is that we have strict timing. We have to go now. Thank you so much for your contribution. I've been speaking with presidential spokesperson Dana Bwala, who is special advisor to the President of Media and Policy Communication. We're counting on all of the promises of Mr. President. It matters that people are able to afford food and drugs. He acknowledged that himself in his New Year message. And we're hoping that all of these plans and policies will come to fruition in the course of the new year. Thank you for joining us again. You can watch it all over again by 4 a.m. tomorrow. We're back with more conversations on This Morning. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. Thank you for being there.
A paid presentation by ShopX TV. At ShopX TV, our customers are the heart of everything we do. As a special thank you for your continued support, we are offering our customers 10% off on selected products from now till November 15th. That's right, shop now and save big on some of your favorite items while stock lasts. Don't miss out on this opportunity to grab amazing products at unbelievable prices. First is our amazing 4-in-1 CookX blender. It's a food processor, a grinder, a blender, and a juicer all in one. The CookX 4-in-1 blender comes with 3 versatile cup sizes, each crafted to handle special tasks perfectly. Imagine effortlessly whipping up smoothies that are truly smooth, pounded yam and soups that are flawlessly pounded and blended. You would normally pay 189,950 naira for the CookX 4-in-1 blender. But call the number on your screen right now or scan the QR code and get it for just 170,995 naira. Incredible! And that's not all. You can get the CookX 4-in-1 blender in 2 easy payments of 85,498 naira. That's right, pay twice to get this amazing cooking solution. And we are not done yet. ShopX TV is proud to introduce the ShopX Ultimate Crunch Exercise Machine. The 6-in-1 machine is designed to take your fitness to the next level. No need to worry about expensive gym fees. You can now work out from the comfort of your home and achieve results. With Ultimate Crunch cutting-edge technology, you can transform your body. Its enhanced features deliver a full body workout that's efficient, effective, and enjoyable. The secret is its advanced design that combines multiple exercise models into one unit. The versatile machine features adjustable resistance levels, an ergonomic design, and a built-in digital tracking system that displays speed, time, distance, and calories burned. From sculpting your abs to toning your legs, upper body, and strengthening your core, you would normally pay up to 449,950 naira for the ShopX Ultimate Crunch. But for a limited time only, call the number on your screen now or scan the QR code and get the ShopX Ultimate Crunch at 404,955 naira. Incredible! And that's not all. You can get the ShopX Ultimate Total Crunch in 2 easy payments of 202,478 naira. That's right, pay twice to get this amazing fitness solution. But hurry, limited stocks available. So call the number on your screen now or scan the QR code or visit our website to place your order while stock lasts. The proceeding was a paid presentation brought to you by ShopX TV.
At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to great.
Hello and welcome to TVC Midday News live from our headquarters here in Lagos, Nigeria. The Lagos State Police Command has arrested a teacher who physically abused 3-year-old pupil of Christ Methodist School at the Ikorodu area of Lagos State. According to report, the 3-year-old in that video has received treatment at the Ikorodu General Hospital in Lagos. Senior correspondent Ivy Kanu reports.
Like this, right. 9-6 for me. 6 is like this.
That sound is from a teacher to a 3-year-old. The 3-year-old is Abayomi Michael.
You're 2.
The video went viral on Wednesday morning, sparking widespread outrage. Though the teacher's face wasn't seen in the viral video, the police and Lagos State Ministry of Youth and Social Development swung into action.
Under the president of Nigeria, the governor of Lagos State, my city, and arrest.
Officers of the Wotutu Family Support Unit wasted no time in locating the school and effecting the arrest of the teacher. Finally, the face of the teacher was revealed. She is 45-year-old Stella Nwadigo. The Lagos State Ministry of Youth and Social Development, in a statement, condemned the action of the teacher, stressing that schools are meant to be safe, nurturing, and protective environment for children. While they promised to collaborate with the police to ensure thorough investigation is carried out and justice served, the teacher has been taken into custody. Meanwhile, the ministry has put out a number where such complaints can be made. Ivy Kano, TVC News, Lagos.
So for more on the arrest of the teacher by the police for child abuse, coordinator Child Protection Network for Ikorodu local government area, Bwala Wokudu, joins me live on the Midday News. Now, thank you so much for joining us at this point. This happened in Ikorodu area of Lagos State. How did this news come to you? What were your thoughts?
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. Okay, yeah. So I received like yesterday when I put on my phone, I got some messages. People forwarded the video to me, our members. Okay, let me introduce myself. I am Mrs. Owokoju Bukola, the coordinator for Child Protection Network in Ikorodu. So usually handle cases like this, and when this occurred, when it went viral, I got a message from the state Child Protection Network. I also got some messages, videos from people who knew the work that we are doing. So when I got the information, I quickly reached out to our rescue officer, who is also an officer of Lagos State Neighborhood Safety Corps here in Ikorodu. So when I reached out to him, he told me that they had already called him and he's already on his way. So when I called him, he told me that he was close to the place, and when he got there, he met Bwala, the IPO in charge of the case in the school. He also met the DSVA, Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency at the school, and then they arrested the perpetrator and took the perpetrator to the station. So I was following up before I later joined them at the station. So when I joined them at the station, the perpetrator was already behind bars, and the child was already taken to the hospital for medical examination and care.
So now it brings to question the quality of primary education in Lagos State. Of course, not just Lagos, but all of the states. Now, what is your network doing to ensure effective monitoring of schools to avoid such incidences?
So we've been working actively in Lagos State. We've been working here. We also work with relevant stakeholders. We work with police. We work with other relevant security agencies here in Ikorodu. So what we've been doing is Child Protection Network. It's not only a Lagos State thing. We are all over the 36 states in Nigeria. Child Protection Network is all over. And in Lagos alone, we are also in all the local governments in Lagos State. So we have coordinators, we have deputy coordinators, we have executives, we have state executives also. So what we do is we work with Lagos State Ministry of Youth and Social Development, my SD. We work with DSVA in going to these schools and sensitizing them, in creating awareness. We also train, we do capacity building for trainings for school counselors, like public school, for school counselors. But the thing is, this is something that we cannot eradicate at once. We will keep doing what we are doing in creating awareness, in going to these schools. And the thing is, most of these schools, they don't have safeguarding and child protection policies in place. And like I always say, it's more than just collecting school fees. Being a school owner is more than just collecting school fees. These things need to be in place. When they hire new staff, even non-academic staffs, they need to know about the safeguarding and child protection policies in the school. So what we are doing is creating awareness, going to the schools, working with agencies, relevant agencies, in ensuring that we pass across our message to the school. And right now, I think we need to intensify our advocacy.
Yes, of course. But I want to pick on the fact that you mentioned that many schools do not have child safety protocols. In ensuring the safety of our schools now for young children, of course, it's quite alarming. What can parents do in this regards? Like you have mentioned, it's not just about paying school fees. What can parents do to ensure that many schools have child protection protocols in place?
Okay, so what parents can do is, like I always say, I'm also an advocate. We put out the words. Parents should be involved in the day-to-day activities of their children. We need to take responsibility. Do not entrust your responsibility in the hands of anyone. Don't trust anyone with your children. Where your children are going to school, ask when you're going to when you're going to enroll your children in a school. You can ask, because you're going to pay them. You can ask for if they have safeguarding and child protection policy in place. I think we should start holding schools accountable for that. And parents should be involved in that. Ask your school, do they have safeguarding and child protection policies in place? What do they have? If these cases happen in the school, what will the school do? Because we've seen cases where school owners will even cover up the case just because they don't want their school to be out there. So for parents, this is my word for the parents, please be involved in the day-to-day activity of your children. Let them be able to talk to you about anything and everything. It will help. Now, assuming this has been happening to this boy for a while now, I'm not saying it has been happening. So I'm just citing an example. Assuming it has been happening to this boy for a while now, and the teacher has been maltreating the boy. If the boy is open, if there's a room, or the parents create a safe space in the home for the child to talk, the child will be able to confide in the parent that, oh, mom, oh, dad, this is what I've been going through. This is what is happening to me in school. And then from there, the parents can report to the necessary authorities.
All right. All right. Thank you so much for talking to us and giving us your own insights on this. We hope that many more schools will adhere to this situation and bring up some child protection protocols. Thank you very much for talking to us. Well, let's move now to Ogun State, where the police have paraded more than 20 suspects arrested for different crimes, including kidnapping, murder, cultism, amongst others. Senior reporter Kazim Olowe reports.
Officers of the Wotutu Family Support Unit wasted no time in locating the school. For the officers and men of the Ogun State Police Command as they paraded suspects arrested in connection to murder, kidnapping and other crimes committed in the state. The Commissioner of Police Lanre Ogunlowo, while parading the suspects at the command's headquarters, Eliwiro Abeokuta, says the arrests were made in 3 weeks. He alleged that one of the suspects, Afis Ayeteru, beheaded an 80-year-old woman in Ado-Odwota area of the state. Other suspects paraded include brothers who specialize in killing and selling of human body parts.
On 26/11/2024, 5 gunmen invaded Ajelanwak village, Ogbere, Ogun State, and kidnapped one Tijani Ganiu in a canoe to a unknown destination. The victim was released after 5 days when the family paid unspecified amount of money as ransom. On 21/12 at about 10:00 hour, through intelligence-led policing, Blessing Kia David, and Temidayo Goda were arrested.
While speaking on those who specialize in kidnapping and selling of children, the Commissioner of Police promised to ensure that the suspects are well prosecuted.
We want to appeal to the to our people in Ogun State to be conscious of who they associate with, who they relate with, who come to their domain and things like that. Because it's just rampant to have this number of incidents within 3 weeks.
Commissioner appeals to residents to be law-abiding and continue to provide timely information to aid the police in preventing and addressing criminal activities in the state. Kazim Olowe, TVC News, Abeokuta.
We now turn our attention to Katsina State, where the police have decorated 181 newly promoted officers from the command with the new ranks. Commissioner of Police Aliyu Musa assured that their welfare will be prioritized and hard work in personnel rewarded. Abdulatif Yusuf reports.
A moment of joy and fulfillment as 181 newly promoted officers hung their new ranks proudly. Among the decorated are 2 assistant commissioners, 12 chief superintendents, 9 superintendents, and 136 deputy superintendents of police, among others.
Promotion comes from the Almighty Allah, and He has destiny that this officer will be promoted to their next ranks. I sincerely thank invited guests for honoring our invitations. And to our promotees, I want to tell you that now your responsibility is tripled.
The CP also charged them to uphold the highest standards of professionalism, dedication, integrity, and transparency in the course of their duties.
Your promotion is to increase your hard work, sincerity, and honesty to this organization and to the people of Katsina State. I want to tell you that any officer, after posting you to your new duty post, and you are found wanting, either extorting or molesting the civilians and the good people of Katsina, I will not tolerate it.
He further called on the friends and families of the newly promoted officers to continue providing support and collaborate in the discharge of their duties. On behalf of all the newly promoted officers, ACP Aminu Abdul Karim appreciated the Inspector General of Police and the Chairman Police Service Commission for finding the officers worthy of the promotion and promised to give their best in serving the nation. The ceremony also had in attendance senior police officers, family members, and friends of the newly promoted officers. Abdulatif Yusuf, TVC News, Katsina.
We'll take a quick break and return with more on the news. Stay tuned.
Stay ahead with the biggest news stories. Go beyond the news headlines. Experience impactful investigations. Enjoy resourceful news coverage in real time. TVC News at 7 and TVC News at 10 p.m. Live every day on this channel. TVC News. First with breaking news.
Hello, TVC Communications. How can I help?
What makes TVC the right choice for my business?
Excellent question, sir. Let me share some exciting facts with you.
Start your day on TVC Entertainment with Wake Up Nigeria, a family and lifestyle show. Your view empowers women globally.
It's your view, let it count.
Entertainment Splash delivers the hottest celebrity trends. On TVC News, we keep you informed with breaking news and in-depth analysis of events shaping the world.
I will continue to speak the truth.
TVC News at 7 and TVC News at 10 p.m. delivers the most important stories of the day. Max FM, your hit music radio station, captivates listeners daily across Lagos and Abuja, making every commute more enjoyable. Adaba 88.9 FM is not left out, as it is the voice of Southwest. And on TVC Digital, we reach to million viewers daily. All together, pulls in over 17 million viewers daily. Contact us on 0707-272-8338 or marketing at tvccommunications.tv. Partner with TVC Communications today. Let's grow together.
You're watching TVC News. A joint security patrol team, including men of the Nigeria Police and members of the Sokoto State Community Guard, have foiled a kidnap operation on a commercial vehicle by gunmen suspected to be armed bandits. The incident took place at Kwanara Mahaiba along Goronyo Sabo Highway in the troubled Eastern Senatorial District of Sokoto State. 7 passengers, including children, were rescued by security operatives as other passengers ran into the bush before their arrival. However, a passenger was shot dead by the bandits. The victims were presented to the Deputy Governor of Sokoto State, Mohammed Gobir. He commended the joint patrol team for rescuing 63 victims from bandits in 4 days. And now to this rather sad news. The Defense Headquarters has confirmed the killing of 34 terrorists in its raids on different locations in Borno State. Now, a statement by the Defense Headquarters mentioned that 6 of its personnel were killed in action and 23 AK-47 weapons recovered. The DHQ explained that the terrorists were taken unaware when troops returning to base foiled their planned attack as soon as the attack commenced. The troops' reinforcement team, which had the Civilian Joint Task Force, vigilantes, and hybrid forces, also arrived at the scene to overpower the terrorists. The Defense Headquarters say the reinforcement team encountered an improvised explosive device injuring the vigilante commander. The air component of Operation Hadinkai also conducted an air interdiction on the fleeing terrorists, which led to the death of many. In the meantime, President Tinubu has sympathized with the military authorities following the loss of 6 soldiers during a terrorist attack on an army base in Sabungida, Damboa, Borno State. His condolence is contained in a statement by his special advisor on information and strategy, Bayo Onanuga. The president also condoled the families of the fallen soldiers, calling for a thorough investigation to uncover the circumstances that led to the incident and ensure that it serves as a valuable lesson to prevent similar occurrences. President Tinubu, however, commended the armed forces for their swift and decisive response, particularly the air component, in launching effective retaliatory strikes, which resulted in significant killing of numerous terrorists and the destruction of their assets as they attempted to flee. Moving now, the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Bala Al-Bakar, has asked officers and personnel to remain committed in the fight against criminality. He made the call at the 2024 base annual socio-cultural activities held at various Air Force military formations across the country. We have details in this report.
The 2024 base annual socio-cultural activities of the Nigerian Air Force come alive with traditional dances from different ethnic nationalities at the headquarters of the Mobility Command in Opolo, Yenagoa. This annual event provides officers, airmen, and their families an opportunity to interact in a relaxed atmosphere while also promoting civic-military relationships with the host community. This year's occasion is attended by the Chief of Air Staff, represented by Air Vice Marshal Abdul Rashid Gotun, who earlier met with retired veterans to give them a sense of belonging.
Nigerian Air Force veterans, it is his belief that they remain members of the Nigerian Air Force, even in retirement. And he has gone a long way to provide infrastructure and resources towards improving their welfare. The charge of the Chief of the Air Staff to all members of the Nigerian Air Force, especially those in the Mobility Command, is that they should try harder than they did last year. Our security challenges are daunting. It is his commitment that oil production in the South must increase so that, our economic challenges can be better addressed by the federal government of Nigeria.
Over the years, PASA has become a highly anticipated event for the Air Force family and friends, providing an opportunity to unwind and recover from a year of hard work and challenges. I remind you all to always remain apolitical and unbiased in the performance of your duties.
In Owerri, the Imo State capital, the socio-cultural activities are held at the base of the 211 Quick Response Group, where the airmen and women are offered the opportunity to relax with the civil populace amidst the display of Nigeria's rich culture to spice up the occasion.
In relative peace is because of the efforts of the Nigerian Air Force and other security agencies that are within Imo State. And moving forward, we know that greater things lie ahead. There are projections ahead, and indeed, we will achieve much, much more even in this year 2025.
We have witnessed relative calm, peace, no molestation from any member of the Air Force. We are not saying that.
The lighting of the campfire and tug of war also spiced up the occasion. Earlier, the base also hosted a meeting for retired veterans as instructed by the Chief of Air Staff. The gathering included health discussions and other informative lectures for the veterans, recognizing their years of meritorious service to the nation. Joseph Kunde, TVC News, Owerri.
More than 500 indigenous persons have benefited from the free medical service of a group known as Orlu United Medical Center 2025. The outreach is to meet the medical needs of some vulnerable people, residents of Umuawa community in Orlu local government area of Imo State who were ravaged by insecurity. Senior reporter Prince Uba has more.
Orlu in the last few years was a theater of insecurity, causing serious unrest in the area. Though people are settling very fast following improvement in security situation. This program offered people the opportunity to receive medical treatment for various ailments. The organizer of the free medical service, Dr. Cheka Ubaja, says the essence of the program is to help the less privileged in the society to have access to medical care.
Life in the rural area matters. Our people doesn't have to go to abroad anymore. And for those who cannot afford to go to abroad for medical care, we brought in different doctors from different specialists who and attended different patients with different health conditions. And we give them medication, and for those that needed to come back, we give them return to clinic appointment so that we can continue to follow up with their health conditions.
The healthcare in Nigeria is not really what we want it to be, but I think we are going somewhere. A journey of 1,000 miles we start with. But the problem is our politicians and leaders, and we are hoping that they will look at it, they will look into the healthcare system and at least vote 15% of every national budget into healthcare, as declared in Abuja in 2001.
Some beneficiaries were grateful to the organizers for attending to their health needs.
I am very happy receiving these drugs today. At least by the time I take them, to go a long way. I thank them so much for this act of humanity which they have shown to the people, because if you go to hospitals, maybe it will be very exorbitant.
They have given me many treatments. They give me eyeglass, they give me drugs, both want to drink.
I was checked on and I was given free medical attention, like free drugs and gifts.
The occasion was also used to inaugurate this hospital to attend to more health challenges that may be confronting the people within and outside the area. Prince Oba, TVC News, Olu, Imo State.
Well, that's TVC News this hour. For more updates on the stories we're monitoring, you can visit our website, www.tvcnews.tv. You can also follow us on our social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, and on X at TVC News NG. On YouTube, we're live at TVC News Nigeria. Thanks for watching.
Everyone.
May this new year bring you joy.
Here's to a fresh start, everyone. May this year bring you love, laughter, and happiness.
Happy New Year.
Wishing you a year of growth and success.
Happy New Year! A new year, a new start, way to go. Just as sports is exciting to fans, may the new year excite you all.
Wishing you a memorable and joyful new year.
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year!
Yes, wishing you a year of growth and success. Happy New Year! Happy New Year!
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year! Here's wishing you a profitable new year.
Cheers to an open fresh year 2025.
Happy New Year once again. I wish you well.
Hello, TVC Communications. How can I help?
What makes TVC the right choice for my business?
Excellent question, sir. Let me share some exciting facts with you.
Start your day on TVC Entertainment with Wake Up Nigeria, a family and lifestyle show. Your view empowers women globally.
It's your view, let it count.
Entertainment Splash delivers the hottest celebrity trends. On TVC News, we keep you informed with breaking news and in-depth analysis of events shaping the world.
I will continue to speak the truth.
TVC News at 7 and TVC News at 10 p.m. delivers the most important stories of the day. Max FM, your hit music radio station, captivates listeners daily across Lagos and Abuja, making every commute more enjoyable. Adaba 88.9 FM is not left out, as it is the voice of Southwest. And on TVC Digital, we reach to million viewers daily. All together, pulls in over 17 million viewers daily. Contact us on 0707-272-8338 or marketing at tvccommunications.tv. Partner with TVC Communications today. Let's grow together.
Wherever you see destruction, it's because God is absent. There is no destruction in God. So who started killing from Genesis? Satan. Jesus exposed him. The thief cometh not, but for to steal, to kill, and to destroy. But I am come that you may have life and have it how much? More abundant. I prophesy as your amen is coming like thunder. Whatever is yours, receive it now.
Is my fatherland. God bless Akwa.
We will invite all Akwa Ibomites to arise to the faith of greatness with our Rise agenda.
The sun is rising, the land is peaceful. It's so amazing that I can see.
The Inspector General of Police has met with senior officers to review the state of security.
We are continuing our coverage of the arrest of Godwin Emefiele.
The Senate has summoned the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria to properly brief the Senate regarding the state of the economy.
What I will never take.
Let's now bring you more development from Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, where an explosion has taken place. Tell us about this incident.
TVC News. First with breaking news. At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News. First with breaking news.
In Nigeria, about 7 million babies are born each year. Out of this number, 262,000 die at birth, while over 400,000 die before their 5th birthday. Fueling this mortality, a premature birth, birth asphyxia, sepsis, malaria, pneumonia, and diarrhea. At the University of Calabar Teaching Hospital in Cross River State, one of the Samfield babies dies 3 weeks after he was born preterm. It adds to the number of neonatal deaths this year. His 32-year-old mother is still struggling to care for the other Samfield baby in intensive care.
The 4th of September, I came here to teaching hospital. So I was admitted at gynae ward. They tried to manage the situation for like a week. On the 11th of September, the baby decided to come out. So it was a preterm, extremely low birth weight. Twin 1 was 0.8, then the twin 2 was 0.7. So I gave birth and they were taken to SBU upstairs. They were able to manage them from 0.7. The child now is 1.84 today.
At the time we visited the hospital, we learned that Mr. Samfield had gone out in search of money to settle the hospital bills. The family is yet to settle their bills, although they have been discharged for more than 3 months now.
So the bill is 334,000. So I've spent about 209,000 for oxygen, yes. So this one that is alive, I buy naan, 12,500 every week. So the cost is very high. It's very high for me as a private teacher. Yes, my husband equally is a private teacher. So I need a help.
The cost of healthcare in Nigeria is becoming increasingly unaffordable for many families. The situation is even more dire for those living below $1 per day. Healthcare providers are doing their best to provide quality care, but the lack of funding and resources is a major challenge.
Time comes when you have to go out and get the antibiotics needed for this baby, and the parents don't have the money. It would really be nice if we can actually have station oxygen at all times. That means we won't have any need to have to ask someone to go out for us to get oxygen. If we can have oxygen cylinder station for us, more incubators. Presently, we have just 3 functional incubators. So, and we have more babies, preterm babies, compared to even other units as well.
To reduce child and maternal mortality, a life-saving oxygen gas plant was installed in May 2024 at the Mary Slessor General Hospital in Calabar by UNICEF. Before the plant was sited in Cross River State, health workers traveled to Port Harcourt to get oxygen. The oxygen plant in Calabar can fill up to 135 oxygen cylinders in just 24 hours.
Notice a marked reduction in infant mortality and morbidity when it comes to hypoxia and hypoxemia related illnesses, because oxygen is readily available to meet all the demands since the establishment of this PSA plant.
The question is, if there is a gas plant within a hospital facility, why is the government yet to link the gas plant to health facilities to reduce the cost and time spent in getting oxygen? According to UNICEF, Nigeria leads globally in the number of zero-dose children, with over 2.3 million unvaccinated, a figure the Pediatrics Association of Nigeria say may have risen due to access to quality healthcare facilities across the country. About 20 minutes away from the capital city, we find this spaced-out facility in Akpabuyo local government area of the state. The clinic is understaffed.
Woman is lying down here. The buttocks is that way, and there's no light there. It's until you have a second person. If you are delivering a woman alone, it is difficult.
Is that the case most of the time?
Yes, because we are not many. The staff strength here is low, and as such, you can be on duty alone. And so when you have a woman in labor, you must be alone, and everything is done by you and you alone. So to see that side of the vagina for you to see and do the exact thing that you're supposed to do. You have to either put your phone inside your mouth and hold it to view well, enable you view the vulva very well, as to do what you are supposed to do.
In Cross River State, 4 out of 18 local government areas have an increased number of zero-dose children. For now, the state's healthcare system needs to mop up 85,000 unvaccinated children in rural communities and internally displaced persons camp.
The reason why we still have zero-dose children in Cross River State is because of the frequent vaccine stockouts. So sometimes we have problem with stockouts where the antigens are not available and leads to missed opportunity where the clients actually come to the facility to get these vaccines, but because of the stockouts. And the reason for this stockout is not that the vaccine is not available. The vaccine is available at the central, but there's usually some logistic problem in bringing down this vaccine to Cross River State.
For UNICEF and government agencies, sustainable development can be achieved through collaborative strategy. Sarah Ayeku, TVC News, Calabar.
As of December 9, 2024, the Nigeria Correctional Service says out of a total 81,193 inmates spread across its custodial facilities nationwide, 26,944 persons are convicted, while 54,249 are standing trial. This majority include inmates who are on trial before the magistrate or high court and those who haven't even had a day in court. This yawning disparity amounting to almost 70% has been the narrative at the overcrowded facilities.
They kept bringing me out again for the first time to torture me. They want to kill me.
Until May 2024, when they were finally freed, 48 years old Moses Abiodun and 53 years old Kazim Adeshina were among this population of non-convicted inmates. They say a series of arrests across Lagos by the now-defunct Special Armed Robbery Squad of the Nigeria Police Force in June 2008 brought them together on a 16-year-old journey, spanning from the SAS detention facility to being remanded at the medium security.
This week's edition of the program, we reflect on major events that shaped the environment in the past year. Welcome. I am Esther Mokwariola. 2024 has been a year of both challenges and progress for Nigeria's fight against climate change. From devastating floods that displaced thousands to bold steps toward reducing emissions and building resilience, the country's environmental story reflects the urgency of action and the hope for a sustainable future.
Floods wreaked havoc across Nigeria, affecting more than 178 local government areas. From Jigawa to Adamawa, Taraba to Bayelsa, thousands were displaced, homes were destroyed and farmland submerged. Authorities had warned earlier in the year that 31 states were at risk, but the scale of destruction revealed the monumental task of climate adaptation.
The flood swept away my farm, leaving me with almost nothing. The situation is dire. With my farm washed away by the flood waters, we are now struggling to find food to eat.
In Borno, the collapse of the Alau Dam caused massive flooding, leading to widespread destruction and severe health risks, with thousands displaced and in urgent need of help. Governor Babagana Zulum called for urgent intervention, while Vice President Kashim Shettima described the disaster as the worst in over 30 years. He assured that the government will provide support and stressed the need for better flood control measures.
People build homes right inside waterways, thereby reducing the width of the canals. These are some of the factors that are responsible for the overflowing. But most importantly, we are witnessing rainfall, storm, that has not been seen in the recent years, up to 50, 60 years ago. So the soil has become completely saturated.
About 50 trucks of rice are on their way to Maiduguri. They have started loading at their depot, and more eggs will come from federal establishments, organizations, and private sector.
Even Lagos, Nigeria's commercial capital, wasn't spared. Torrential rain submerged major districts, sparking concerns about the city's vulnerability as a low-lying coastal hub. For many, it was a harsh reminder of the worsening effects of climate change.
The reality is we're going to be getting a lot more rain. This is just the reality that humanity has to face. This is due to the anthropogenic effect that we're having on the environment, specifically the pollution that's been going up into the atmosphere that has been causing extra heating of the earth that is now causing more evaporation. And of course, you have more evaporation, you're going to have more water falling. So the reality is there's going to be a lot more rain. In fact, some people don't even call it rainfall. They say that what we're having now is rain bombs, where you will have rain that would normally fall over a period of 1 week. It can fall just in 1 day.
Despite the challenges, Lagos made strides in tackling climate change. At its 10th annual International Climate Change Summit, the state unveiled plans to cut carbon emissions and enhance climate resilience. Sustainable waste management initiatives and advocacy campaigns gained traction, with schools and communities playing a vital role in promoting eco-friendly practices.
We must accelerate our effort to mobilize climate finance and channel it towards projects that prioritize local adaptation initiatives. This means investing in infrastructure.
Meanwhile, the Niger Delta continued to grapple with ecological devastation. Oil spills devastated marine ecosystems and livelihoods, prompting communities to demand stricter regulations and greater accountability from oil companies.
Those who will go after crayfish and the special swamp area fish that they get every year, they will deny. The people of Ogboimbiri will be denied that this year.
And as people in the riverine area, in this area, it is farm work and fish farming. Now this is September. These are only means of livelihood. So these things are affected. So the truth of the matter is, what we need now is a cleanup.
On the global stage, Nigeria's participation in the COP29 climate summit in Azerbaijan highlighted its commitment to clean energy and sustainability. However, the summit left developing nations like Nigeria dissatisfied, citing inadequate financial commitments from developed countries.
This is an insult to what the convention says. Should I remind us of what the convention says? That it noted that developed countries had the largest share of historical and current global emissions. This might be 1994, but it's still very current till now. It also said that the developed countries would take the lead, and this lead is climate finance. That the developing country is saying that it's taking the lead with $300 billion till 2035 is a joke.
As we step into 2025, the path ahead demands collective action. From implementing climate-smart solutions at home to advocating for equitable support globally, Nigeria's fight against environmental crisis is far from over. Yet, with sustained effort, innovation and resilience, the nation can chart a future where both its people and planet thrive. Esther Mopariola, TVC News.
And still on events that shaped the year 2024, residents living along floodplains in Lagos had to contend with the floodwaters following the release of water from Oyon Dam. Well, in the meantime, state authorities asked residents to relocate to higher grounds, even as it worked with relevant agencies to mitigate the humanitarian impact.
In this community, the sight of flooded streets may seem unusual, but for the residents, it's an annual ordeal they've grown accustomed to. Some say it's been this way for as long as they can remember, while others have resigned themselves to the constant threat of floods.
This is Ajewole community in Ikosi Sherry Local Council Development Area in Lagos, severely affected by the flooding caused by the release of water from the Oyon Dam. While the state governments have urged residents in these areas to move to higher grounds, some residents here tell me they don't have that option.
Kelechi, a mother with 3 children, has lived here for 12 years. She has repeatedly received warnings from state authorities to relocate, but financial constraints make it impossible.
If this water goes, some people sick because of the water. But for me, I'm using malaria, typhoid, all those medicine for them. I'm using it for them, even agbo, to prevent the sickness that will come after this water. I just pray that the government should please help us any way they know they can do for this flood to stop.
With her home already overtaken by floods, she tells me she's not scared of aquatic animals like snakes lurking in the area. She tells me how she wards off unwanted creatures, which she claims has been effective.
I use bitter cola, all the rooms. I pour bitter cola, but the window I pour battery there, and I do use coil in the night, so that the odor of the smoke will make them to be far from me. I've seen so many people that use the bitter cola. So many people that make snakes to run far from them. Even the silly, I pour on the silly too, so I won't be able to feel the snake.
Living in these tough conditions, her source of water is already contaminated, but she applies a method to make it safe for use.
I'm using it, I put alum inside, because I fetch it inside drum. I put alum inside. This is just for bathing. I don't use it for cooking. I fetch water for cooking. I don't use this kind of water. I cannot even smell the odor, talk less of using it and cook.
Other residents blame the worsening flood situation on poor drainage, indiscriminate waste disposal, and illegal construction on drainage systems. They are calling on the state government to address these issues.
If you go to that canal there, sometimes in September, we have cleared the drainage for easy torrential movement. And we even thank Lagos State government for giving us optimum awareness that from so to so time, you should prepare yourself. There will be flood, and we have actually prepared. Even you can walk inside it. It is not more than 3 feet depth.
All of us cannot be at Ikoyi. We cannot be at Aja. We cannot be at Okota. They should value the people living here. What we need there for this Ajegule is drainage.
Well, we knew that this is annual visitor. So that's how the flood usually comes. And when it comes, within few weeks, it will also go back. To some people, they are comfortable living here because there are some people that are fishing here. And when the flood comes, that is when they are making money. So they catch fish, and when they catch the fish, they sell. And from there, they are making a lot of money. And to my own belief, every area in the world are also experiencing such So our own too has come, and as it has come, we know that very soon it will go.
The Oyon River Dam, located in Ogun State, releases water annually to prevent structural damage and reduce flood risks. However, the release impacts surrounding communities, particularly those along the Ogun River channels that extend into Lagos.
It is crucial to understand that the dam's annual operations are informed by real-time hydrological data, rainfall prediction from the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, and flood outlook from the Nigerian Hydrological Service Agency, NISA. These sources guide the water release decisions, ensuring both flood control and integrity of the dam. Notably, 62.1% of the dam's flood control capacity remains intact, meaning the Oyon Dam is not under any imminent threat of releasing excess water beyond safe limits.
The Lagos State government says it has carried out dredging and maintenance in several locations to mitigate the impact of the water release. They are also appealing to residents to avoid actions that contribute to flooding.
All over the world, the practice is when a disaster is approaching, the advisory is given, kindly leave this place to a safer place. It's when it becomes a disaster that the government can now pick them into the IDP camps or whatever camp. And that becomes the remit of LASEMA or NEMA. We owe this environment a major duty to leave it better than we met it.
As Lagos, a city barely above sea level, continues to grow rapidly, the state faces increasing pressure to implement more proactive solutions. Without such measures, the most vulnerable residents will remain at the mercy of these recurring floods.
Green Angle returns in just a moment. Stay with us. And finally, after 2 weeks of negotiations at the UN Climate Action Summit in Baku, Azerbaijan, countries adopted a $300 billion global finance target to help poorer countries deal with the impacts of climate change. But while the agreement was celebrated by some, others criticized it as inadequate.
World leaders gathered in Baku, Azerbaijan for the 29th United Nations Climate Summit. After 2 weeks of intense negotiations, a new climate finance deal was reached, but not without controversy. Rich countries have pledged $300 billion annually by 2035 to help poorer nations combat climate change, triple the previous $100 billion commitment. While this is a significant increase, many developing nations have criticized the deal as falling far short of what's needed to address the scale of the crisis.
Countries are taking the lead. This is an insult to what the convention says. Should I remind us of what the convention says? That it noted that developed countries had the largest share of historical and current global emissions. This might be 1994, but it's still very current till now. It also said that the developed countries will take the lead, and this lead is climate finance. That the developing country is saying that it's taking the lead with $300 billion till 2035 is a joke.
We are extremely disappointed at the lack of progress on issues critical to Africa. We remind all that Africa's share for global emissions remains negligible. If the world overshoots the 1.5 degrees goal, it will not be because of Africa, and yet it is Africa that stands to bear the brunt of that failure.
The proposed goal shall not solve anything for us. In fact, we have to implement ambitious indices and economic challenges that we need to navigate and address the adaptation needs. The amount that is proposed to be mobilized is abysmally poor. It's a paltry sum. It is not something that will enable conducive climate action that is necessary for the survival of our country and for the growth of our people, their livelihoods. And I'm sorry to say that we cannot accept it.
And that's not the only controversial decision at COP29. New rules for carbon credit trading were approved under Article 6 of the Paris Agreement. These allow high-emission countries to buy carbon offsets from developing nations. Supporters say this could bring much-needed investments to projects like reforestation and clean energy in poorer countries. But critics warn that without strict oversight, carbon markets could be misused to greenwash polluters' activities, delaying real emissions cut.
Carbon trading, carbon credits is not solving the climate problem. It's only giving the license to polluters to do more, to pollute more. And of course, it's also creating carbon colonialism and carbon slavery in poor countries, where communities are now going to be forced to watch over carbon in trees or in the river or in the soil, instead of being helped to adapt to the crisis they did not create.
Last year at COP28 in Dubai, leaders made history by recognizing the need to phase down coal, oil and gas. This year, however, the language was less direct, simply referencing the Dubai commitment. Azerbaijan's President Ilham Aliyev, in his keynote speech, even described fossil fuels as a gift from God, sparking further controversy.
To accuse us that we have oil is the same like to accuse us that we have more than 250 sunny days a year in Baku. Countries should be judged by other criteria. Countries should be judged by other criteria. For instance, level of unemployment in Azerbaijan, it is 5.4%. Level of poverty, it is 5.2%. Our green agenda, I already described our plans. So these are, and many other, important criteria which should be a basis for kind of evaluation of the country's performance, but not the country's natural resources, which are the gift of the God.
So is the global fight against climate change losing momentum? Despite years of agreement, emissions and temperatures continue to rise, with 2024 set to be the hottest year ever recorded.
Look in the country, can you believe that?
Adding to the uncertainty is Donald Trump's return to the global stage. His recent election victory and promises to withdraw the United States from climate efforts have dampened optimism among delegates. The clock is ticking and the stakes couldn't be higher. Can these steps lead to the transformational change the planet desperately needs? Or will history remember Baku as another missed opportunity?
Mic check, 1, 2, mic check. Do you analyze if you're ready? Fossil-powered cars and how a green growth expert is...
The debate over genetically modified organisms
by repairing, reusing and recycling them. This reduces waste, creates value by keeping the materials in use for as long. And how a green growth expert is providing
a multi-stakeholder effort aimed at reducing coastal litter in Lagos and its environs, while contributing, while also creating.
In this edition of Green Angle, we explore how Isheri North residents in Lagos, Nigeria are preventing future floods and devastating. Sorry, -1, just one more notch. And that's about it on this week's edition of the program. Until I come your way next time, remember, together, we can build a sustainable world. I am Esther Makwariola. Bye for now.
Live from our studio here in Lagos, you're watching TVC News at 1. Our top stories this hour. President Bwala Tinubu meets with visiting Chinese Minister of Foreign Affairs Wang Yi at Presidential Villa Abuja. Police arrest teacher for physically abusing 3-year-old pupil at Ikorodu area of Lagos. And outside Nigeria, Los Angeles continues to be ravaged by wildfires, with latest blaze bringing havoc to Hollywood Hills, where the iconic sign sits. In sports this hour, West Ham United appoints Graham Potter as coach after sacking Lopetegui. Thanks for joining us on the news this hour. President Bwala Tinubu is currently meeting with visiting Chinese Minister of Foreign Affairs Wang Yi at the Presidential Villa Abuja. We understand that the meeting is a continuation of efforts by China to further solidify its relationship with Nigeria. The Political Bureau of Central Committee of the Communist Party of China is in Nigeria on a 2-day working visit. It was received at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport by Dunoma Umar Ahmed, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, on Wednesday. Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs and visiting Chinese Foreign Minister are expected to brief journalists on details of the meeting and plans for improved cooperation between the two countries. In another development, at least 15 Nigeria federal lawmakers have moved against Mozambique opposition leaders superintended by Benicio Mondlane for sponsoring terrorism and burning of public infrastructure in the name of politics. Recall that following the controversial 9th of October 9 elections, which was contested over allegations of fraud, Mr. Mondlane and his lieutenants have reportedly escalated the situation by championing violence and civil disobedience, which culminated into the death of 100 people. The 15 Nigerian lawmakers have now petitioned the European Union, United Nations, African Union, U.S. government, seeking their intervention in the political crisis which threatened democracy on the African continent. The lawmakers, led by Peter Nikwe, in their petition condemned Mozambique's opposition's resort to bloody violence and urged decisive EU action towards sending the impasse and restoring normalcy in the African country. Back here in Lagos, the Lagos Police Command has arrested the teacher who physically abused a 3-year-old pupil of Christ Methodist School at the Ikorodu area of Lagos. Senior correspondent Ivy Kanu has details.
Like this, right 6 for me. 6 is like this.
That sound is from a teacher to a 3-year-old. The 3-year-old is Abayomi Michael.
You're 2.
The video went viral on Wednesday morning, sparking widespread outrage. Though the teacher's face wasn't seen in the viral video, the police and Lagos State Ministry of Youth and Social Development swung into action.
Under the president of Nigeria, the governor of Lagos State, my city, round arrest.
Officers of the Wotutu Family Support Unit wasted no time in locating the school and effecting the arrest of the teacher. Finally, the face of the teacher was revealed. She is 45-year-old Stella Nwadigo. The Lagos State Ministry of Youth and Social Development, in a statement, condemned the action of the teacher, stressing that schools are meant to be safe, nurturing, and protective environment for children. While they promised to collaborate with the police to ensure thorough investigation is carried out and justice served, the teacher has been taken into custody. Meanwhile, the ministry has put out a number where such complaints can be made. Ivy Kano, TVC News, Lagos.
The federal government has now confirmed plans to increase telecom's tariff, but is assuring Nigerians it will not be by 100% as requested by the operators. The Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Bosun Tijani, who said this at a stakeholders meeting in Abuja, adds the Nigerian Communications Commission would come up with modalities for tariff adjustment in the telecoms industry. Mr. Tijani says a number of things will be taken into consideration to ensure these modalities can meaningfully contribute to the development of Nigeria. These include the implementation of an executive order to protect infrastructure around telecoms, shoring up local content, and ensuring the sustainability of the companies. Joining me now for more on this development is Public Affairs Analyst Chris Akio. Thank you for joining us on the news this hour. Beyond just the implication of an increment of tariff on Nigerians, I want us to look at exactly what the telecom operators are saying. They are talking about the fact that the industry remains a pillar of support for our own economy, contributing over 10% to the GDP, and that this is not just about profitability, it's a matter of sustainability for the industry. What do you make of this development?
All right, thank you. So you understand that the telecom sector is more driven by private sector initiative, and that has happened in recent time, the 2000 to date. And it's been successful when compared to NEPA. Now, this is not without investment of the private sector business people. So they are businessmen, and they are wired to make profit. Unfortunately, the baseline for stability in any government has to do with government providing the social infrastructure, a social net, to allow people to do business at low cost, so prices eventually to the common people or citizens will be at low cost. Now, this is not the case in recent time, in the last 24 months. The prices for AGO, PMS has gone up, and then you have a backlash, or what you call a Laplace effect of those prices. The price of AGO affecting the cost of running generators, affecting the cost of importation, affecting the cost of every other item. So the telecom sector definitely will be left alone. I'm not surprised that they're asking for this. It's just there's a facade around it because they are now writing. Electricity has gone up 3 times without talking to anybody. They just shoot up the price in the last 2 years 3 times without talking to anybody. Citizens are paying for it because the cost of generating power has also gone up. So yes, these investors have a right to ask for increment. To the best of my understanding, they are even being reasonable to draw the attention of Nigeria that this has to happen so that we can continue to get the best of service. Unfortunately, but prior to this time, the cost of communication in Nigeria is about one of the highest. You pay for data separately, you pay for voice calls separately, you also have to pay for video separately, or sometimes data has to now manage to carry your videos. In other clients, you just pay a one-off fee at the end of the month, and then that provides you both bundle and visuals and audio. So maybe in dealing with these issues, I think the country, the NCC should begin to look at what's happening in other civilized clients, where once you pay for a particular kind of communication gadget, it provides you a 3-way network, visuals and audio all in one bundle. So the cost will now be a package. But right now, we have to pay to watch TV separately. We have to pay for data separately. We have to pay for calls separately. So when you put all those costs together, it is way, way above what is expected for making calls in a country like ours. And definitely there will be backlash away from the citizens. But trust me, I do not think that we will continue to get the best of service if they don't increase price. Absolutely.
And that's also very critical to the economy because everyone has to remain connected. And it's key for, every other sector of the economy. Everyone appears to have gone through difficult times in the past 2 years. I'm wondering how much of an impact potentially you think this would have on the economy of the average Nigerian. So what do you think government can do this time?
Yes, I think that under this administration, I've always said that the issue is about policy change, radical, quick, and fast policy changes that are affecting more of the common people than those upstairs. And it's cause for concern. The entire hula hula about sudden increase in price had to do with this subsidy drama, subsidy removal. I believe that the people who were talking about subsidy all these years were just using that to manage a situation that hitherto could have been managed without the subsidy. And now that they know that subsidy has been removed, they have allowed a lot of things to skyrocket. And prices for the things that will help us in the production sector has gone up. Everything, not just telecommunication, every common thing that what's the cost of a loaf of bread? Check that. Because the cost of production in bakery has gone up. What's the cost of a bottle of Coke? Even water. Because people have to freeze this water for them to sell them in a hot country where there's no electricity. They have to pay more, and so the prices have gone up. So yes, government needs to begin to recalibrate where it should put its palliative. I don't think that right now it is getting it right. The funds invested in palliative are like, just quick fix things. Those funds should be invested in infrastructures that can reduce the cost of production so that the final cost to the consumer will be cheaper. So I would rather that those huge sums of money they are trying to put on palliatives should be used to build more refineries, should be used to cushion the cost of production in industries, should be used to provide good roads, should be used to reduce taxes so that the final cost of commodity is what is affordable by even the commonest of our citizens.
Right.
So long as the total cost of production is higher than what's currently going on, producers or investors will need to increase price and transfer that burden to the consumer. And that's simple economics. There's no way we can go. So the government needs to
Chris Akio, public affairs analyst. That's how much we can take from that conversation. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us on the news this hour. We'll take a short break now and we'll be back with more stories. Stay with us.
This is Dr. Abiola Salami. 2025 makes it 20 years that I started my career as a performance strategist, serving senior leaders, women in leadership, and emerging leaders. If you want to improve your performance this year, I am inviting you to the Kickoff Summit where you and your team will get an empirical framework that will give you 3 things. 1. Clarity to determine what exactly you want to achieve. 2. Direction, that is your strategy to achieving it. And 3. Motivation for you and your team to take consistent positive action even when the going is tough. You will also get tools for overcoming procrastination, distractions, fear, and scaling hurdles in 2025. We have a lineup of incredible speakers including Mr. Austin Avuru, Mrs. Kafilat Araoye, Dr. Larry Lushola, Professor Badari, and Aproko Doctor. They will share insights on leadership, money, health, relationships, and more. VIP delegates will have the opportunity to join us for the kickoff concert featuring Tokwe Alabi, Forever, Ashiri, Damola, Kenne Black, and many award-winning acts. We encourage you to attend with your top-performing team members as well as your strategic leaders. Visit www.kickoffsummit.com for more information.
Every weekday on Business Nigeria, we uncover the secrets of the financial world.
We analyze the stock market, shares, bonds, and the thrilling world of cryptocurrency.
Facts matter. Our team dives deep to separate fact from popular opinion.
We simplify complex government policies as it impacts your everyday life, helping you navigate the ever-changing financial landscape.
Watch Business Nigeria every weekday at 2 p.m. only on TVC News. First with breaking news.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen material slabbed, stroked, and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move way in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty, erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
You're watching TVC News at 1. The Ondo State government has officially increased daily ticket fees for commercial motorcycle and tricycle operators. But the decision, which the state government says is in line with prevailing economic realities, has attracted criticisms from some residents who want a review. Senior reporter Ayodeji Moradio has more.
The increase in the ticket fees being paid by commercial motorcycle and tricycle operators in Ondo State came to them as a New Year surprise. According to the new directive issued by the state government, the ticket fee being paid by commercial motorcyclists has been increased from 150 to 500 naira, while tricycle operators will now pay 1,000 naira as against 300 naira being paid before. At a press briefing in Akure, the chairman of the Ondo State Internal Revenue Service, Bayo Rojugbokon, said the new price will ensure fairness while eliminating exploitative practices by agents.
You found that we are the only one that is far behind schedule. I'm saying that Ekiti here is 850, Osun State is 700, Edo State is 1,002, Lagos is 1,003, and Ondo State was charging 150. It's not reasonable. And the cost of production is the same, and so we have to increase it to 500, which is far below what others are charging.
We gave this ticket to agents. You know, it's a kind of a commission process. We give our tickets to agents.
Some residents expressed divergent views about the decision by the state government.
The government needs to increase the ticket fee right now, because if they do that, all the Okada and Marua can even increase their own transport fee.
We have collect minimum wage, civil servants are collect, then everything in the market is increasing. But so all of them must be increased because everything is increasing.
But the state government said the decision is in the best interest of the people and that it will not affect transport fare.
The prices we get now is conclusive for those states. But we are saying that it is still far below what other states are charging. So that the people of Ondo State should know that we are still very reasonable with them.
The state government assured the people that the money realized from the ticketing will be judiciously used for the development of the state and that the step was taken in the best interest of the people. Ayodeji Moradio, TVC News, Akure.
Let's talk health now. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention has allayed fears following the outbreak of human metapneumovirus in China and other regions. Director General of the NCDC, Jide Idris, says Nigeria is at moderate risk for the virus. He also mentioned that the agency is taking proactive measures to ensure the public is informed and prepared for any potential impact of the virus. Although no case of HMPV has been reported in Nigeria, the NCDC mentioned that it has ramped up surveillance efforts nationwide. Mr. Idris also says as of Monday, Nigeria's national influenza sentinel surveillance system has not reported any unusual increase in respiratory infections, including those caused by HMPV. The World Health Organization has also clarified that there's been no emergency declaration amid growing attention to the rising circulation of respiratory viruses, particularly human metapneumovirus in China. Well, let's get more perspectives to this. For more on Nigeria's preparedness for the HMPV, the respiratory virus surgeon in China, I'm joined by Associate Professor Infectious Diseases and Genomics in Adeleke University, Osun State, Oladipo Kolawale. Prof, thank you for joining us on the news this hour. Just how concerned should Africa be, considering what we experienced with the COVID-19 virus in 2020, and how much of information do you think we're getting from China?
I think, thank you for having me on the news. First of all, it should be noted that this virus is not new. This virus has been in existence since 2001. And truths have to be told that there's nothing to be scared for or to be scared about. It has been said by WHO And NCDC has made it clear, you know, it's seasonal. Season like this in the winter, you have more of a respiratory tract disease infection. And you can see that if you look at some countries, from data that I have at my hand, a lot of countries, even Uganda, Kenya, South Africa, they have been having cases of these, which we normally resolve with time. And the only problem, the challenge is there, is that when we talk about those who are at risk of getting this infectious disease, is children, adults, then immunocompromised individuals. So it's nothing to worry about. The virus has been in existence, which shows that probably individual would have had an immunity against it because it has been in circulation compared to COVID-19 that we had that time, that kind of a virus has never been in human population circulated. So there is nothing to fear about, nothing to be scared about concerning the virus.
And it's exactly the same thing we're hearing from NCDC, saying that we're at moderate risk, where